Behold, the king of the Koopas!
I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
Excuse me, everybody! Coming through! This guy's brother is going to die!
There's gotta be a way out of here.
There's no escape. The only hope is the sweet relief of death.
Whoa! Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Bop.
You
Bop.
heard it
Bop.
up top.
Bop.
That's right. Because we are going through a warp pipe. You're hearing that special music as we take a journey, a cross-dimensional journey to the Mushroom Kingdom as we talk the one, the only, the Super Mario Brothers movie here on Normies Like Us with your hosts, Princess Colin.
Nice. I'll be Maluigi.
And it's a me, Jacobio. Let's go.
Let's go to the movie theater, which is what we did to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie.
That's right.
It was fascinating for me because it was a year to the day from when I'd seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which up to this point
Palm out,
was
Mike.
one of the best, opening weekends for a video game movie. But if you've seen any headlines, this is smashing them. We'll get into those later. Like blocks above your head with a Jumpman punch, maybe. But wild that they kind of copied the release window, seemed to be very successful for them at this point. Easter, family weekend, spring break. A lot of families out there. This is a family film, Illumination. But that's what we did. We'll jump into our review and spoilers a little bit after the intro. But yeah. Mamma Mia, we did it.
Mamma Mia, a big one. We're talking essentially the mascot of video gaming. You could argue, certainly from our age demographic. I guess pop quiz. Have we done a Mario episode before? I have no idea. Would Normies know that? We have. Okay.
Very early, maybe season 1.
Wow.
The early ons, and that's when Joe brought up his love for the film, and that's been an ongoing thing. He loves that 1993, I believe, movie. Divisive, very weird, would never get made today. And what we saw was a very different thing, but we have done a Normies episode.
Wow.
He's an icon. We had to. We've done Sonic for a while. We were just doing kind of the big icons, legends, as it were. And you said Mario's probably the biggest gaming IP.
Yeah. And Normies, go back and listen to that. But I'll ask my fellow Normies here, because I certainly don't remember and have not listened to that episode. But what's y'all's history with the character Mario? Jacob, are you playing Mario games currently? What was the last Mario game you played?
No, I mean, probably. What was the last movie? I can't even think. It would probably have been
Double Dash? You love Double Dash.
Double Dash, yeah. I'm not really a Nintendo guy like you are, Colin. I know you had all the systems from Wii and all that. Before I own a Switch now, but before that, the last system I owned from Nintendo was a GameCube. So I am not really a regular Nintendo boy, but I do play, when I'm at your house or something, we'll play some. I played a lot of Super Smash Brothers. You could count that. Mario Kart 8, played that a lot on the
GameCube. You're getting Double Dash. You're getting Melee, Smash Brothers Melee. You're getting Sunshine. Did you play Mario Sunshine, Jacob?
No, I'm not really
garbage.
Yeah, I'm not really a single player Mario. Like I don't play the mainline Mario games, if you will.
Mike, gotta throw it over to my other plumber brother here.
Yeah. So the most recent Mario game I played was actually Mario Golf for N64. Me and Kaita were just playing the newly released stuff on the Switch. They have Mario Golf on there. We were playing some Mario Golf. So that was the last
Mario Tennis
Mario property. We haven't played. I haven't played that recently, but I played Tennis, Strikers, dabbled. But again, I had the systems late. I did play at my cousin's a lot. They had an NES and Super Nintendo. So when we were over there getting babysat, it was all Nintendo. That's where I got my Mario in. At home, it was Sonic. And I like the character. I play more Smash Brothers. 64, it's like the biggest speedrunning game, so I'm pretty knowledgeable about that whole side of Mario, and I've played 64, and a revolutionary game in its own right. But yeah, I like Mario as a character. I just think contemporarily, I haven't played the Switch games. I haven't played Sunshine or Galaxy or new Super Mario Brothers. Dabbled a little bit with Mario Maker because that was an interesting novelty. But I like Mario, and it's so nostalgic because this thing has been in our brains for 25 years. So I was very excited to see the movie, even if I haven't played his most recent releases. He's my little guy, Yeah, but how about you,
I
Colin?
feel like he's all of our little guys.
Yeah.
I would definitely say then I have the most actual hands-on Mario experience. I love the fact that you guys just like listed so many different games and so many different genres. Like Mike brought up the soccer game where it's like, oh yeah, like fucking we did it. Mario's there. He did it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That I'll just like use my little second here to say like, look, my history truly is we had a Super Nintendo first. I had my brother confirm this story to me recently because I had it out of order.
Mhm.
But my father, from a friend at work, bought from another guy who was like, my wife's going to make me throw this out. If you have $25, you can have this. A super, or no, you blew it by saying the word super. A Nintendo Entertainment System, the original system, not the Famicom, of course, but the American version of it,
Mhm.
that came with that cartridge, Super Mario Bros. / Duck Hunt.
Mhm.
So, you know, like, I put that on and that motherfucker is amazing. And like, I remember being a little kid and being like, yeah, jumping over Bowser, touch the axe, he falls on this bridge. And kind of just thinking like, yeah, video games, I'm going to like this for the rest of my life. And then the broad spectrum since then to say like, just to shout out weird stuff of like the RPG game on the Super Nintendo. That's like,
yes.
like one of my favorite video games maybe of all time. Like Jacob, another podcast we like, Get Played, Heather Ann Campbell always brings up her perennial challenge will be the Final Fantasy Tactics event advance on the Game Boy Advance. Mine is Super Mario RPG, the 7 stars or whatever the fuck it's called. I try to beat that game every year and never
Wow.
can.
Yeah.
That's a great one. That's a deep cut. I was not sure if there were explicit Easter eggs to that, but that's one that we also played. My cousin had it. I'd never beaten it personally, but I remember playing it. You get Mallow.
Our
all the
neighbor had
characters.
it. Mike Mallow.
Where does
Mallow.
Mallow and Smash? Justice for Mallow.
Bring him
right?
back.
Waluigi
what
Would have been a
Crestro.
movie.
Paper
How
Mario.
about it? Yeah, Paper Mario's another
Mario.
one. Yeah.
And going through those and kind of playing the RPG sides, but also staying to the mainline games. So I have played Sunshine, I have played Galaxy, and I have played Odyssey, which is of course the biggest Switch hit. And I gotta say, a crowd pleaser. Like it's just an incredible game. So I'm happy with where the Mario video game franchise is.
Yeah, and as we know, Nintendo, this partnership with Universal, they've opened up 2 Nintendo lands, which is largely like Super Mario lands, and all the types of games. Mario Party, we didn't even mention the amount of joysticks broken in that game. But
And fights.
Right.
Mario's
Jesus.
just he's such a popular character, and they've been so smart in marketing him and putting him in sports titles, but we'll just put Mario on the front of it. He's like the original Lego Batman, Mario Golf, right? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he can't
Plays
be
every
contained
sport.
to one genre. And he can't be contained to one medium either. And that's why we've arrived at the second attempt and the first proper, earnest attempt at a Super Mario Brothers. So I say we hop in the warp pipe. Let's get to the Mushroom Kingdom and dive right into Super Mario Brothers, the movie, right after this.
We're back. I'm gonna eat this weird looking mushroom. Gonna grow a foot taller. Ooh, feeling better. Because we're talking Super Mario Brothers, the movie here on Normies Like Us. And to get there, let's talk Nintendo, of course. We've done 1,000 episodes on Nintendo. Started as a trading card company, becomes a video game company. They want to make a flagship mascot. They make it a guy named Jumpman who, is like fighting against a monkey, ends up taking off, becomes this perennial character called Mario, right? And it sets up this whole mythos, whole legend on the film side, because I think that's the angle we're going to be talking about today, right? It's important to note, like Mike said, past host of this show, Joe Asta, was obsessed with it. If you all haven't checked it out, there's, of course, one shot at a live action, full-blooded Nintendo movie before this. And it is, of course, again, the same character, Super Mario. It's a 1993 live action film starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo. Boys, when was the last time we watched this film? Dennis Hopper, of course.
I'm fairly certain the last time I watched this film was the only time I watched this film when I had my dad take me to the theaters to watch it. And I was like,
wow,
this is so much not Mario. And I've never watched it since, I believe. And Joe's talked it up, and I've watched YouTube essays.
It's
I've
the best.
seen some scenes.
You deserve
not
a rewatch.
Yeah, I've not rewatched it. So maybe you can tell me the best way to go about that. But Jacob, when was the last time you watched this?
Oh, probably back in college when I was watching it with Joe and Colin, most likely. But
Okay.
it's a great movie, cult classic. and maybe it's the best Mario movie. Who knows?
Those are some adjectives.
Ooh,
Yeah.
hot take. I love it. It'd been a minute for me as well because, of course, despite the fact that it is a Hollywood Pictures film, which is, of course, a subsidiary of what will become the Disney umbrella of owning things, they do not seem keen on putting this on either Hulu or Disney Plus for some reason. And it is just not widely available. I will say, internet savvy people, this is not even pirating. I found this on a totally legal site called Internet Archives. There's a very interesting, fully assembled director's cut that uses unused footage, deleted scenes that are like time coded out. They're not transferred properly. It looks like they're VHS conversions that are spliced into actual film scenes. That you can just search by literally typing into your search engine Super Mario Director's Cut, and it's the first thing that comes up, and you can watch the full-length film on your web browser.
Wow.
I did that recently. It's wild. I stand by. It's a great film, Mike. I don't think I mean, like, the fact that a visual artist who'd never made a movie before this but had sort of done music videos was like given the keys to the kingdom for Nintendo to enter like pop culture will never be repeated again in any artistic
No.
medium.
And this was really before the era of thinking of everything as an IP and like how can we adapt this. It was a much different era. But you know what? I like it. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing too. Like when you think about the concept of Mario, the original Mario Brothers on the Duck Hunt cartridge, it's like, okay, he's running. There's some bricks, a Goomba. He travels through pipes. Like there's something surreal about like if you imagine that realistically in 1993, like what is this really? Like there's something surreal about it. And then that's what this is. It's like a surreal take on the Mario Brothers and their world, and it is a unique thing.
Dystopian drama about two brothers understanding that evolution and de-evolution are two like concepts at battle with each other, and you're like, oh, of course, Super Mario.
Yeah. Some of the theming's lost on me because I haven't seen it since I was 8, so I do need to rewatch it, Colin. Thanks for reminding me. But it is interesting to note, though, as much as it has become maybe a cult classic, didn't sit well with fans at the time, and it caused Nintendo to have really cold feet about licensing their brands out to the West for a long time. Yeah.
Yes. So outside of that, Mike, maybe you weren't super into the movie. Were you into the wrestler Captain Lou Albano?
Not his in-ring work, but his on-screen work, 100%. 100%. I'm familiar with this show, yes.
We get the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which is a cartoon primarily. They're not going to sort of be doing what the movie's doing, but instead they have these like live-action interstitials that feature a wrestler and some other guy playing maybe more screen-accurate versions of like our greasy Italian plumbers. Jacob, have you seen this dumb show?
No.
Wow.
It's on Netflix, I think. I think our listeners, if they have that, could track down literally every episode of this insane show that is very memeable, and I see a lot of GIFs online now.
And the theme song from this is referenced in the movie, and we'll get to that. But iconic show, and anytime I can tell the story in public, I must tell it that there's a cartoon, Mario and Luigi, but there's always one line that I've always remembered since I was a kid. Told you guys after the movie, but listeners, Luigi's talking about Mario, and he's like, hey man, Mario, you were born to do this. And he's like, yeah, I was born with a plunger in my hand. And Luigi says, yeah, that was real hard on mom. And I'm just like, I don't know why that was in a kid's show. I didn't understand it when I heard it, but it always stuck in my head. And then like 10 years later, I got it. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. But anyway, weird show. But generally Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah.
So embracing the cold feet, though, that you're talking about, outside of like licensing to literally children's fare, the overarching like command at Nintendo is we are never doing this again. Movies are done. We are closing this avenue. We will never disrespect what is ours, something we own. And I keep literally chiming in on the that we own part because now we'll come to in 2021, there was a co-owned Nintendo property adapted. Of course, the Pokemon Company owns it as well as a Game Freak primarily. But of course, I'm talking about Detective Pikachu, which was the return of Nintendo to cinema.
Yeah. And for a long time, that was considered the most successful video game movie. It did pretty well. And we had Justice Smith. Shout out to our D&D episode. Go listen to that. But a charming little movie. And that was their first foray back. Bill Nye wants to be Mewtwo. I get it.
Yes, and as we were watching this film together, and we'll talk about the movie now and say that all three of us saw this together. Let's talk about that for a second. But Jacob did remind me that I did predict that Detective Pikachu would make more money than Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, you said it'd be the biggest
Famously on this
movie
podcast, yes.
of all time, maybe. I don't know,
Yes.
but
It
obviously
did
it
not live up to
was.
that.
It was
Yeah.
worth buying a Vegas ticket. The payout would have been worth it. Not the worst bet you could have made.
No,
Yeah.
well, we've gotten a lot of video game adaptations just in the last couple of years, and Sonic obviously 1 and 2. I guess now it's Mario's turn, and here we are.
Here we are, and is it so interesting that like out of the whole, just like ranch that's available, like the roster that Nintendo could pull from, and to come back and just say no, we're going to do another shot at getting our mascot character correct. I went in, I'll say this, very skeptical about a Mario movie.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat, and you wonder if some of that is pressure from Sonic having success, because during the 90s was big rivalry. Sega does what Nintendo don't, and Sonic was starting to get popular again. The movies were doing well, and maybe Nintendo saw that and was like, hey man, we gotta elevate our brand penetration with Mario, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably like he's the first character that you could do like a movie about in video game history. Like you can't do a Pac-Man movie. Like he's 8-bit. Like you
No.
got to at least get there, and that's
Right.
where he's
Yeah.
at. And so kind of do it with, one of the forefathers of gaming, and he's still relevant now. Like he's like a Mickey Mouse. Like somehow they've protected this thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he's directly
And
connected to
obviously
Mickey Mouse now at
Gets
Universal.
this like Tetris gets this like brand treatment. Pong would as well, but we're talking literally the first video game character here,
that you can
Mario.
build something from. Yeah, exactly.
Jumpman.
So makes sense
Jumpman.
that they go for it. Yep, old Jumpman. And working with Illumination, I think that's a good studio for them to work with on this. And maybe talk about that a little bit. How does this be, Colin? Like, have any sense of the deal or what?
Yeah, it's from directors Aaron Hovarth and another man who I cannot recall his name, but they're basically the primary creative force between Cartoon Network's Teen Titans Go. And they also directed the film Teen Titans Go to the movies. Illumination was someone that Nintendo came to personally for this, literally looking at the success of Despicable Me and the Secret Life of Pets franchise and said, the direction we're going in is to not do live action. We're not going to repeat that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
We know it needs to be animated. We like the fact that you have a sort of realistic comic looking world too. And basically Shigeru Miyamoto was incredibly hands-on, of course, creator of the Mario character and like huge exec over at
Stan Lee
Nintendo.
of video games. I mean, he
Yes.
made a lot of important characters, but yes.
Samus and a Link as well, of course.
Yep.
He literally just looks at franchise and goes like, what if I just made a character in this sort of genre? And then you're like, oh, great. That invented a new form of video gaming at the time.
Basically. Yeah.
And we have Mario. So they recruited Aaron Hovarth and his partner to do what they said the opposite of Teen Titans Go would be. They didn't want to do the irreverent, sarcastic take. They literally wanted to do an origin story. They wanted to do it incredibly faithful. And they did not want to shy away from the weird, fantastical elements of the film, which I think is incredibly obvious. But let's talk the illumination of it all and say again, because going into this, and I said I was nervous, guys, I don't like Minions movies. Are you guys Minions fans or Despicable Me or Secret Life of Pets? Or I believe we saw a duck franchise is what they'll be trying next.
Yeah, I love ducks.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen a Minions movie or a Despicable
Any of them.
Any of them. I've seen, clips of Minions and stuff. I know what their whole deal
Well,
is.
you wore
I
a
know what they're
suit.
about.
You went to the theater. You just didn't watch the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm a
Potential
huge Minions fan.
Yes.
I didn't necessarily have a problem with Illumination doing this though, because I felt like that seems like a good choice for them. Like it's not going to be like Pixar is not going to make a Mario movie. That would be absurd.
No, very true. Have you
They're too
seen the
busy making
Benedict
elements.
Cumberbatch Grinch movie?
No.
No, Benedict Cumberbatch is in it.
He is. He does a very weird voice.
What a weird
I haven't.
follow-up to the classic cartoon, then the Jim Carrey, and then they do another one. Again, it's this thing that just Who's asking
Yeah.
for another Grinch?
They should have got Jim Carrey to voice it.
He's busy with Sonic. He's busy
That's
carrying
true.
Sonic right now.
Yeah.
I once, would joke that a red flag on dating apps was if someone had Minions stuff in their photos. And then someone challenged me. It was like, have you ever seen a Minions movie? I said, no. So I watched the most recent Minions movie. And it was good. It was good. I like genuinely laughed at a couple parts. It's stupid, but it was actually like, okay, there's something here. And then after having seen that and seeing the Mario movie, I'm like, yeah, Illumination is probably the only people that could have done this the way they did and bring the world to life, at least in this kind of tangible yet fantastical way. And I think they nailed that part of it, at least. So good job. Right partner to pick.
I would agree with that, Mike. I would say that when this Mario movie's working, it's when they are tapping into what makes the Minions film work, which is that they are incredibly kinetic. I have not seen all of them. Shout out to a guy Jake and I went to college with, Chris Flannery, what up, who worked on a junior project with me, and we were at his house, and I was looking at his Do the Right Thing Criterion Blu-ray that just arrived. And he's like, it's beautiful. And I was like, man, it is beautiful. And this was a guy who liked so much good stuff, had an eye for visuals, just incredible. And I'm looking at his movies, and then he goes, here's the one I'm really excited that I just got. And it was the first Despicable Me film in 3D Blu-ray. And he was like, have you seen this? And I was like, no. And he was like, dude, borrow it tonight. We'll talk tomorrow. Trust me. I remember going home and watching it and being like, dude, this fucking movie rules.
That's
Coming back
awesome.
and being like, it's so fucking good. I haven't seen them all since then, but I'll say this to you guys. I haven't seen an Illumination movie that I don't like. I've seen The Grinch, and I've seen at least one of the Minions films. I remember laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it seems like they're sort of on the level of DreamWorks, something like that, but not the kind of movies that I'm generally that interested in. But I can see them being decent,
Well, they're targeted more family movies,
Yeah.
children's movies, a little bit less of the 4-quadrant. That's more just the families is their angle, and Mario is certainly a family movie, but as fans of the games, we're able to get in there. But I think Pixar is aiming more, Disney's aiming 4-quadrant. We want to get everybody, right? This has a little bit more narrow focus.
I like Jacob's DreamWorks because that to me is like, I don't know anything about the Madagascar franchise, but there's like 50
Right.
Is that them?
Or the Boss
Or Ice
We
Age.
featured Boss Baby 2
I've
and
seen
Minions,
an Ice Age for sure. Because those were coming out when I was a kid. I saw the first one in theaters for sure. But yes, those are they're just like
they're right there.
I bet there's fine scenes in all of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's an era where every DreamWorks movie would just be like a guy with like his eyebrow. Like there's the DreamWorks face. You had Jerry Seinfeld's B movie, great movie.
No,
yes,
all kinds of stuff.
Well, to be fair, like Disney would, retrace old animation cells, so it's okay to have one face. It's an animation staple to kind
Shark
of go back
Tale,
to what worked. Yeah.
Starring Will Smith.
God. Every one of these
Another
movies
great movie.
are realistic. I'm like, those aren't real films. Quiet, stop.
The more we list, the less confident I am in the deal that they've made. But
yes,
they're as real as Minions to me.
Yeah,
very much so.
But
Super Mario Bros.
Bowser's got minions. You got to animate a bunch of little guys and doing funky stuff, right? And that's what they do well with minions, like this kinetic energy, this almost hyper energy. And when it's doing that and things are in motion, it's working really well. It's maybe thin in plot, and but when it is working, it's kind of a visual spectacle. And yeah, I think we'll be getting into spoilers on this. But anything else about the development before we just
Now, before our last bit of us going together, which I'll say again, we should talk about, but the last reaction thing I think we all need to say is out of nowhere. I mean, it's not like this seemed long simmering, or it's not like there was sort of like headlines that were like they're trying to find the voice cast for the Mario movie or something like that. One day there was a press release that came out that said Chris Pratt will be voicing Mario in the Mario movie. And it listed everybody else as well, Keegan-Michael Key, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day. But the internet lost their mind, and the thing they, of course, zeroed in on was Chris Pratt will be voicing Mario? I mean, do you guys recall this, like, incredible just backlash that just occurred?
Yeah, it was an ugly Sonic moment. Like nobody could believe it. Everybody was like, "You got to change it," especially with
It
the
seemed
original
like
voice
pressure
actor.
was trying to be applied for that, Mike. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we want to get the original voice actor because that's what we grew up with. He's still working, and there's always been that thing of, man, Hollywood actors are taking work from voice actors. Here it is again with one of the most iconic. He's been doing this for 20 years. So that was the conversation being had during
For
that
me, I didn't really care about
time.
the original voice actor. I have no loyalty to the character of Mario. I always thought it was fine that, I thought it was like, oh, Chris Pratt, weird, but let's see how he does, And it makes sense that they would be like, we need a big name like Chris Pratt to really sell this instead of Charles Martinet. No offense to him, but
I
I
wanted to
think,
put a name on a poster. Yeah.
yeah. So it makes sense financially, but you know what? I think to get into the movie a little bit, I think Chris Pratt did better than I expected. I thought he did, all right as Mario.
Yeah.
And you have to highlight here, like Chris Pratt has been kind of up and down with like what his new projects are coming in right now, but it should be noted he was Universal's other project, Jurassic Park. I was watching a Movie Math and Grace brought this up, but it's like he was in $1 billion picture. He was the leading man in a $1 billion franchise, Jurassic Park, right? He has drawn money, and he's in the new Guardians movie coming out, and he just broke the record for biggest video game movie. So even if I would have preferred a voice actor, he is bringing it. Like he's going to get something out of
this. He's a big name.
Well, Christ be with us. Christ be with us.
Yeah,
all.
yeah. On Easter we saw this.
And
Amen.
God
yeah.
praise him. Oh, I bet he pushed for it to be released
Oh,
on
no.
Easter.
Yeah, that was him. That was him.
Chris Pratt. He's not. He's not my favorite Chris, as we talked about last week. Obviously, Chris Pine #1. Then I would say Hemsworth #2, Evans #3. So Pratt's down there at 4.
We're going
for me.
best Chris to worst
Catan
Chris, Jacob.
above
Yeah.
Pratt. Anyway,
you put who above Pratt?
Catan.
Catan, yeah, Chris Catan. Yeah, so Pratt's #5.
I put Chris Catan above him as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I've only really ever liked him, in the Guardians movies or in Parks and Rec. Those are like the 2 roles that I liked him. And then everything else he's done has been like, he's trying for this leading man thing. But the whole reason why he's a leading man in Guardians is he played like a different kind of more comedic character. He wasn't just a straight leading man. And he's kind of taken a career turn where he's doing all these like military movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Action guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Krasinski. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what
2 actors that
I would love
blew
to
up
pull
in
Krasinski.
sitcoms, 2000 sitcoms to action guy pipeline, right?
Exactly. And he does a little more producing, but yeah. So Pratt's in here. Like I get why Universal hired him because he was the leading man of their previous $1 billion franchise. Like he's in house, whatever. We'll get him to do the thing, put it on the poster. Like that works. So, I think the voice cast generally does well. It's fine. I think Anya Taylor-Joy's fine. I think Jack Black is great. Is Bowser, and seeing him on the red carpet is just unhinged. Like he's wearing a Bowser suit. Like he seems to be having a lot of fun. So
I thought it was a bit hit or miss for me. Like I love Jack Black as Bowser. Some of them, it's the celebrity voice casting. When I hear their voices, I don't think of the character. I just think of that actor. Like Charlie Day as Luigi. I thought he did good, but at the same time, I couldn't not like picture Charlie Day when I hear his voice. So it sort of pulls me out of the immersiveness, I guess. And then the other one that I felt like that was Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, where it's just like, I just hear Seth Rogen. I don't hear Donkey Kong.
was bad too.
Yeah, Cranky Kong, Fred Armisen.
No, been better.
Yeah, so I thought, but Jack Black was really a standout, like you said.
For sure. If we're just judging off vocal talent, Jack Black, there is a chance that he might actually believe he is Bowser, and God bless that man for believing that. And Anya Taylor-Joy, I would put in Jacob's column of just pulling me out because literally every line she has is like, I'm Anya Taylor-Joy. And I'm like, sure, of course. I remember you playing chess when I was lonely and alone for 3 years with me. I recall your voice very well.
I guess I'm just a fan. I thought she did.
Yeah.
I thought it worked for me. I was like, oh, she actually has a good voice for animation, but maybe I'm just standing. Who knows? But
She did good, and I don't think her voice is like as iconic to me. Like I couldn't picture, like Charlie Day is a very distinctive voice, and I've watched a lot of like Always Sunny, so I'm like, I can't not picture that character. And same thing with Seth Rogen. I mean, even does the Seth Rogen
But there,
laugh in the
but there
movie, right?
is a
Specifically a beat.
piece of me that literally can just see Charlie wearing a Luigi outfit where I'm like,
Yes.
he does have a
brings
mustache.
the
He
right
is like a
energy.
tiny little coward.
Totally,
Yes, like
totally.
crazy. Where I'm like, it's fine. Like it's
And
believable
I do
enough.
think him and Chris
Yeah.
Pratt, like their dynamic as brothers, really sells this film in terms of like that's the
Aw.
underlying theme of like whenever we're together, nothing can stop us and all that. Uh,
Some of
That's
that,
what this movie wants. Yes.
yeah, they're
yeah.
going for
So
it.
I like their dynamic as brothers for sure.
Well, I guess we should talk then. 'Cause we're talking about the plot. The critics were really hard on this movie. We're talking like 50% because the plot is like we're better together than we are alone, and my dad doesn't believe in me either. I wish I could do
Right.
something. Whatever.
But
But
it's the
is that
thing.
really like
The most important
is that
thing,
really
'cause-
the critics going that hard? I mean, 50%, that still means like half the critics gave it a good review, right? So it's kind of 50-50. I mean, to me, that's kind of what I would give it to, but I mean, we'll get into that later.
Well, my thought is, what are they expecting? Because the audience seems to be, as fans of the Mario franchise, absolutely loving this movie. It's like 96%. So there's a big disconnect between, I think, what's expected, because the critics, it's like, what do you want? It's a Mario movie, right? Like, not Citizen Kane, chill out. So I don't know. But fans
Yeah.
love it. I had fun with it, and we'll get into final ratings at the end.
The only thing I old man at is like when like Quantum Mania gets like a 99 on like Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm like,
Right.
so like, what do you like? What's the message there? It's like, again, is it something, Jacob, where people's going like, we're rating it for what it is? Because then to Mike's argument, it's like, what is this movie? What is Super Mario Brothers, the movie where two Italian plumbers from Brooklyn go through a portal and end up in another kingdom, and then they just kind of walk around and just like goof off? It's like, I don't know. What's any of it?
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
got to get down to like there's the audience rating and the critics rating.
Yeah.
And now Ant-Man, I don't know what it got critics rating wise, but you're saying it got in the
47.
90s?
I,
Okay,
No,
see, that seems
fans
about
were
right.
in the high 80s.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is
A
like
similar
that
split.
where it's like
I think Ant-Man
the
got
critic
like the
score was
80s or
50.
something.
7.
Critic score?
I think so.
Oh.
I think Ant-Man and the Wasp has like a 92, dog, on like Rotten
That could
Tomatoes.
be.
Where I'm like,
No. I pulled
All
that
right.
up. Sorry,
I mean, I guess
sorry.
compare Super Mario to Minions movies compared to the Sonic 1 and 2, it's about the same range. I mean, the Sonic 1 and 2, I think
Yeah.
they were in the
Good call.
60s critics wise. But it's like it's like a typical like mid 50s critics in the 90s as audience, and I think that makes sense because it's sort of
yes.
a crowd pleasing family film, but a
But
lot of
Mhm.
but here's what I'll harp on, because all I can, Jacob, is react to our audience. Mike came down to the valley with our buddy X. We all saw this at our usual establishment, not a
That's right.
matinee, but a little later than we usually do. And
mid afternoon.
we got a sold out, I would say, audience, right? Fully packed theater. Now,
a lot of families.
exact same circumstances for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We were in a sold out theater, Jacob, where you and I were squeezed between families. All I remember about that film is looking around at one point and being like, I think everybody here is going to laugh themselves to death. People are losing their minds.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids.
A lot of
families, people
lot of
dressed
people
as
being like,
Mario.
It's no, but I'm saying that was the Sonic reaction.
Oh,
the
Sonic,
Super Mario dude.
Mhm.
Yes, there were a lot of people dressed. Kind of quiet crowd, couple chuckles, and then the strangest reaction of all, applause at the end. Literally just people clapping because it seemed like the polite thing to do, in my opinion. So I would say Sonic
Yeah.
had the fucking live wire audience, dude, and that's where I'm saying that movie succeeded more.
Could be, but keep
Got
in
a
mind,
second
maybe if we
chance.
went a little bit later, like we went at 4 p.m. Normies, 4:10 on Easter Sunday, so it was like
So many. It was
a
sold out to
family thing.
so
Yeah,
many
it was like,
kids.
but it was like
Correct.
a nice family afternoon for people after they go to church or whatever. Let's go see Mario. We'll take the kids to this new Illumination movie.
Jesus died for us. Chris Pratt told me. Let's see
That's right.
Mario.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mario's a lot like Jesus if you think about it.
Oh, yes, we'll figure. You guys can untwist that one yourselves, but
yeah, he's the savior of the Mushroom Kingdom. What
Jesus
else?
is in the Mushroom Kingdom. Confirmed.
but Full House.
But so
and
yeah,
it
it was a full house, and there's a lot of kids, and I think the kids were into it. And even during some of the quiet parts, you could hear them talking like, and I don't blame little tiny kids for talking, not understanding about theaters and stuff, but
mostly
it seemed like the
behaved.
kids are into it. Yeah,
Maybe they
I think they're engaging with Mario.
Oh, he defeated the dry bones. How you have to in the game. You'd hear stuff like
Yes.
that.
It was stuff where I already could go Fireflower. Like they would just say the things that they saw, which is exactly the shit I would.
They're saying what's happening in my brain.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's
I'm
Mario.
going like, oh, Fireflower.
That's Mario.
Yeah.
That's what I thought every time
That's
he was
him.
on screen. Yeah. But yeah, it was a whole crowd. I guess that we all went together. I think we had a good time, and then I guess we'll talk about our opinions, full spoilers on Mario, right after this. We'll get back into.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We're powering up. We're grabbing that superstar. Because we're on a run here, talking Super Mario Brothers. We're about to dive into the movie. We were discussing just now off pod. Mike did get us those Rotten Tomatoes scores for Ant-Man. I was 100% wrong. It's like the 40s.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it had a very mixed reaction.
Mario's 69 right now. That to me is pretty good.
Sorry,
Sonic 2 was 69.
Sonic
Mario's like
69.
50 something.
Mario's 55. So Sonic 2 is
Mario
really fresh.
55. Still higher than I would put it, actually. That's pretty
But
good.
I think that's to be expected because a lot of critics, I mean, it's a kid focused movie. It's a family focused movie.
Yes.
But I'm not surprised by it making all this money and breaking records because you take Illumination, every time they make one of those Minion movies, it makes bank, right?
Yes.
It's really become, they have a winning formula with these movies. And yeah, so I'm not surprised at all that Super Mario is doing very well financially, and also the audiences seem to like it.
A winning formula for those Minion films. Let's talk about that as we kind of move through the plot of that, because I think there will be some stuff we can easily highlight. I just want to say the last point I want to point out.
Yes.
The trailers, because this was an animated film. Oh, also we saw it in 3D, which I don't know, wasn't that great. Mike, what did you think of the 3D?
Yeah.
Was that all right?
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
It's not.
I almost wish
Way of water, you know.
No. And last week when we saw Dungeons and Dragons, I only got 2D because I was like, what's 3D going to be like in this? Now I kind of want to know what the 3D.
But again, IMAX, I think. But because this was an animated film, sorry, I wanted to say, we saw 2 trailers for animated films, the new Spider-Verse film and the new Ninja Turtles film. I want to say our audience went crazier for those than they did the Super Mario movie.
Yeah, we actually saw like 4 animated.
Like, turtles. You just get
like those two
excited about. Yeah.
Right, we had the Pixar one and we had the Ducks one, which I know you're very excited about.
I do not remember its name.
Pixar one and Migration, Elementals. Yeah. No, I remember Marvel's The Elementals. It was directed by Chloe Zhao. I hated it.
But people were going crazy for Spider-Man, you know, and
going crazy.
Said, my brain's breaking.
I'm going crazy for that movie.
Yes.
Well, that's a 4-part movie. That can be huge.
Yes. And the first one did pretty well, and it was a surprise hit because it kind of came out of nowhere and people were like, oh, there's this like animated Spider-Man movie. So hopefully
and won the
Turtles,
Oscar?
Right? I think so.
Yeah.
I
think Best animated. Yeah, I think
so.
Seth Rogen's in Turtles, but yeah.
Let's dive into a real animated movie now. Let's talk about this thing, which
There's probably like 5
it's a movie.
plot points that we could say and then jump around. Should I just say the plot points?
It's definitely a movie.
Yes, please, right here.
It's about 90 minutes long. Yeah.
It's definitely a movie.
So Bowser gets a superstar. Very beginning of the movie. He wants to go take over the Mushroom Kingdom. Done. All right. Now we're in Brooklyn. Real life Brooklyn. Mario Brothers. They have a plumbing company. It's not going so well. They end up going under the sewer to do a thing. They get pulled into a warp pipe. We're in the Mushroom Kingdom, but they get separated. And then Mario is trying to find Princess Peach because she rules the area to help him find his brother. And then by the end of it, we need to defeat Bowser. And because of Bowser coming, we need an army. So we go to Donkey Kong's house to get an army. We work together after that. And then that's the whole plot. Then we confront Bowser, right? And
teamwork, friendship, all
teamwork,
along the way.
So there's set pieces amongst that. But that's the whole thing. We got separated. Help me find my brother. Help me defeat Bowser.
I would argue, Mike, that most movies are based around set pieces. This film is actually based around Easter eggs that have very small set pieces and then even smaller character development rolled around them.
Yeah, and the character development's a little rough. We see in Brooklyn that, you know, the plumbing business isn't growing great. They were working for another guy, Spike, and then they quit to create their own plumbing company, and then their parents are like, oh, you guys aren't successful, and giving them a hard time about it, and, you know, they're kind of bummed with that. But that's the character development. It's like, oh, my parents don't believe in us, you know, but I believe in me and Luigi, and if we work together, I know we can do it, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the their core.
And
arc.
yeah, Mario's dad doesn't believe in him, which is interesting because I've never thought about Mario having a dad or Luigi, or having a mom or a dad or
I've
having
never
any
thought
other
about them
brothers.
having more brothers. Yes, that's
Yeah.
what bums me out about
see they have a
calling
big
them the
Italian
Super Mario
family.
Brothers. No,
Yeah.
they need to be two. They are a duo. If there's more, it's like, well, they should get involved.
Right.
They're not super. They're just regular
No.
Mario Brothers. We need the super. There's only 2 of those. Yeah.
And did you know it's been confirmed for an incredibly long time because of the instruction manual of the Super Nintendo version, but that Dr. Mario is one of their brothers. He is not Mario as a doctor. He is a separate Mario.
His
I
name
thought
is
for
Dr.
sure-
Mario.
Yes.
Because as we established in the first
Or
Super Mario Brothers.
It could just be that his last name's Mario, Jacob. He just could be
Yeah.
Dr. Mario.
Giuseppe,
Right,
Dr. Mario.
But we've
He doesn't
confirmed
have
in
Mario
the first Super Smash Bros. Or Super Mario Bros. That we were talking about. Their names are, of course, Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Yep.
They're the Mario brothers.
Right.
I'm assuming that's
Awesome.
canon for this movie too.
I would
Yeah,
assume.
I will never assume that it's not canon, but they run a TV ad for their thing, and it's the theme song from the Super Show, and that's kind of how we get introduced to Brooklyn. They're doing the whole thing, and they go, I don't know, it's like, yeah, they do a plumbing thing, and it goes poorly.
Yes,
They're trying to start
do a
their own
plumbing thing and
company.
it goes poorly. This is the first moment where I'm like, oh, is this the Illumination influence? Is this dog that is bothering them at their plumbing job? Is that a Secret Life of Pets
I
cameo
think
or
so.
something?
Yeah, because he looked familiar. At least, yeah, I think that
They
dog.
accidentally step
A
on a
lot of
dog's
attention
bone
was
and piss it off,
paid
yeah.
to the dog. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that must have been a cameo because I was like, that dog looks really familiar. I feel like he's
like
from
that.
something else.
I watched so many Easter egg YouTube videos, and none of them brought up the dog because they're so focused on Nintendo. I wonder if that is so, listeners. But yeah, there's a mishap with the dog. They step on his bone, and the dog is adversarial while they're trying to do the plumbing. It's a whole comedic kind of scene, and
He
then
the dog
learns
is
a
trying to
flip
murder
where
them.
he says "Mamma Mia" to dodge an attack. This will be
Mhm.
very important.
oh, he's.
I thought that was
developing,
very
right?
scary when that dog was like trying to get them. I was like, damn,
I
this
didn't
dog
like
is-
it either.
A little too
He's
tense.
trying to get them. Yeah.
I just kept wanting to say, just yell out, just say, "Excuse me, your dog is scaring me. I'm a person in your home,
you
and
please-
I'm threatened."
Put
Yeah.
your dog in the other room. But it doesn't go well because of the dog. There's like mishaps, and then they're like all bummed out. They go home. Oh, geez, he really blew it this time. And then there's like a news report. We're getting mad flooding in Brooklyn. We need somebody who can help. And they go to investigate that. And then when they get underneath the city, that's where they discover this kind of secret warp pipe. And that's where we get Mushroom Kingdom out of it. But they're beginning the
right.
adventure having failed and then trying again to save the city. And they kind of screw that up too. And then they fall into the warp zone essentially after having failed to fix the pipe in the city. So there's 2 L's right at the start of this for them by the time we even get to the Mushroom Kingdom.
Mario, help!
Yeah. And it said the news reporter is Pauline or whatever, the girlfriend from
yes.
the original Donkey Kong game. Like a little Easter egg there. There's a ton of them.
Mm.
That's how we get to the Mushroom Kingdom in the state wherein Mario feels like he can't do shit and he's separated from his brother, which then is the thrust. Like, I need to save my brother because I can't do it without him. And anyone could take it from
We get a
well,
dude bro in distress, not a damsel in distress. We're having that sort of trope circumvented here, and it's a quest to find his brother. Yes.
Yep. This is where we get Mario's in our POV character for the world of the Mushroom Kingdom. We meet Toad. It's like, oh, I can take you to the castle. I know everything about this place. And then, yeah, we just kind of get this sequence exploring the world. And there's a lot of Easter eggs in the city. And somebody's got an old Nintendo cartridge. Does this work? Yeah, you just got to blow in it. Like, chock full of Easter eggs. Kids jumping to get coins. But what do we think of Mushroom Kingdom and kind of the look of it and all the toads living there? I mean, I think, what more do you want, dude?
And we get Keegan-Michael Key as the titular Toad.
Yeah, and he does I didn't even realize it was him because they kind of pitch it up.
Hey,
but
how are you?
After hearing that,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
him. I can hear his cadence in there, and I think he does a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot better than the Super Show Toad. If you've not heard that, look it up.
I don't remember him.
It's like really aggressive, Mario.
Like really abrasive. I'm not even faking
Sure.
that. Anyway, talk about the Mushroom Kingdom. Good enough.
But so they go to meet Princess Peach, the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, the only human. And as we find out from her backstory, she may have come from Mario's world, our world, if you will.
Yeah. She's
and now-
excited to see a human after being raised by these little goomboids. Or
And then
Yeah.
turn into their God King.
Yeah.
Or the princess.
Which I thought was interesting, and I like the Princess Peach character in this because they do kind of give her more to do. she has more agency than she has like in a lot of the video games where it's like maybe the more recent one she's better, but she's always been, you know, the damsel in distress, your princess is another castle, all that stuff. Here she's kind of, you know, she's handling things, you know, she's you know, knows this world more than Mario. Obviously, she has to teach him how to do a platforming thing. So, you know, because she's been training her whole life. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, she's decisive and stuff, and like, you know, it's fine. I like flipping the trope where yeah, we're rescuing Luigi now, and Princess Peach kind of she would know more if she's from this world, and if you've played Smash Brothers, she can kick ass. So let her do it.
Yeah, but she takes him to this obstacle course, which is literally like a level of Mario where you have all the Easter eggs, the different things that you're familiar with in those platforming games.
Yeah, because when you're playing those games, you're like, is that him walking in between the fucking castles? Like this junk is just like on his way. It's just like a bunch of garbage.
Yeah,
right. But
I guess so.
It's almost like a Mario Maker level that she puts him through.
Yeah,
because it's all these just blocks arranged, and so she like kind of divides this course, and you run it. But there's, you know, not to go too crazy, but there's like Easter eggs of, you know, movement tech from Mario 64 and like his little jumps or his butts. Like he's doing moves that we've seen in either Smash Brothers or in generally Mario 64, the newer game.
Yeah.
Trademark.
3D worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's trademark stuff.
Yeah. And they have obviously special powers that you can eat a mushroom, grow bigger, which is very ironic in this movie because, as we established, he hates mushrooms. Given some mushrooms to eat by his family, and he's like, ew, mushrooms. Now he's got to eat this mushroom.
Failure. They give him mushroom pasta when they know he doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's very cruel. Jacob, I want to correct you for a second though and say that she shows him this obstacle course, to which he says that's impossible, and she turns and says, the power-ups give us incredible powers. That is just the phrase that she says as she hits a block and a mushroom comes out. And she said to him, the power-ups give us incredible powers. I would say, ma'am, what are you talking about? I just told you this thing is impossible. What is a power-up? Why did you just hand me a mushroom?
Right. If a lady that you just met gave you a mushroom and told you to eat it, would you just do that unquestioningly?
That's happened to me in my life. I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. These power-ups.
Yeah,
they're really going to make you see.
You're about to
open your third eye, Mario.
Power up.
Yeah. But she's able to complete the course with ease. She demonstrates it. She does her little float down move, which is from the classic game. So they're making nods to the games here explicitly, and this is when the movie works the best, when they have this kinetic energy. I think you mentioned Mario and Luigi are trying to get to work on time or whatever, and they're doing the side platforming.
Yeah,
it's like very reminiscent of the new Super Mario Brothers mechanics.
When you play co-op with your friend, right?
Yeah, so that's when the movie's working the best. So this whole obstacle course where he's kind of wall jumping and running across the dropping blocks and doing this and that, like that stuff feels really good. But we do learn the power-ups. Once you get hit, you lose the power, and it's like, does it make sense? No. Did they stick to it? Yes.
Doesn't
just
have to. Just embrace the world.
Just embrace it. Yeah. So I'm glad they don't try to skirt around it or make it realistic. Like, no, this is how it works. Go.
And of course, the whole plot revolves around Bowser getting this superstar, which of course will give you invincibility. So I hope that pays off in the third act in some way, right?
Yeah.
So they have to
montage, and then we begin the adventure. You know, he eventually gets.
We get a training montage. He fails. You pointed out she's very good at it. We basically get the recurring what is Peach's like lines and humor gonna be, which is that she's like, no, when I did it, I was really bad, and he's like, I bet you were great, and she's like, I was great. She always just has an undercut response to like whatever like things she set up. It's very poor writing. Very poor writing for these characters. Just wanted to point that out.
Well, they don't have I think the whole script in general, it's just very
there's no jokes. It's
generic.
just kind of references. And another thing, Jacob, you pointed out to call out another illumination thing is we should say if we're 30 minutes into this movie, we've heard probably 7 pop songs by this point.
Yeah, a lot of needle drops, a lot of licensed music. When, you know, we all agreed afterwards, like it should have just been all Nintendo like arrangements of classic Nintendo songs, and that would have been so much better. But again, for financial reasons, I'm sure for capitalist reasons, they were like, no, we got to get fucking, you know, we got to get Take on Me by Aha. For
Universal owns NBC Publishing, which owns, you know, Telecom Records, which means if we license to pay ourselves, and you're just like, the business end.
which is I believe it is an Illumination thing with every Minions movie. There's lots of licensed music in those, and well, it's a good cross-marketing brand, thing. But for people that just want, the Mario movie, like classic Mario songs, you could have had, it could have been so much better. And they do have that at moments, right? Like you hear a lot of different motifs.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
My brother makes toys. I've explained it before. Working at Hasbro, he is in these focus groups where they test children's ability to pay attention now and just attention spans and stuff. And literally they have found if you break up these mini montages and go just create collections of scenes with different songs over them, they prefer to watch that in a row than to rewatch the movie anyways. So we're just going to include that as a special feature or let them skip around when they're watching it.
It's just like TikTok,
exactly.
We'll
It's
30
just
seconds of a song in here so people, recognize and go,
that.
I like that song.
Yeah, they would when we hear Thunderstruck, whatever,
Take on
doesn't
Me.
matter. But it's so short. Yeah, it's like 15 to 20 seconds. It's like hardly even anything. Yeah.
It's like a TikTok's length of song, and just so people are like, I recognize that.
I know that. Next.
Yeah.
I know that one too. Next.
And
I don't know that one.
Contextually make any sense for the scene except for No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Maybe
No.
that one.
Yeah.
Even then, I'm not.
I'm being as generous.
That was the only one I was okay with
because
Sunday.
You're just literally you're like, yes, they're in Brooklyn. I get it.
Doing my best.
Move on.
I'm trying to be like Jesus and just love.
Yes.
All right. And that's the most I can do.
Embrace.
So the thing is, when you have like something like Guardians of the Galaxy, they have the needle drops of 80s songs that were on, Star-Lord's
tape from his mother.
Tape that he had growing up from his mother. Like that's
diegetic.
thematically makes sense and it fits that theme. If you just throw random songs into a movie and be like, oh, this is a good song for this scene, I guess it doesn't really have any connection to it, but it's just a song that people know. That's what I don't like.
Taking on anything when that song is playing.
Yeah, it's during the Mario Kart scene. You could have had some classic Mario Kart track,
Yeah.
Rainbow Road instrumental.
But we get a little bit of that during, Mad Max. But prior to that, we do get introduced to the carts when they finally go to the jungle, right? To say, hey, we need the Kong army. So, they do take on me when we're introduced to the carts with the wings and they fly the way they do. Like they do all the things they do in the game. And I'm like, that's Mario. Like my brain's saying, oh yes, the glider.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the type. I'm stoked to see that.
Important to point out, Mike, because that is happening the whole time you're watching.
The whole time
you're going, yes, Mario, yes.
That's really the only reason to watch this movie, right?
Yeah.
If we just took out all the Mario stuff, it would just be a very generic. Just the way the story is structured. It's not doing anything radically different or interesting, right? Plot wise.
No, Mario, the original Isekai, Mike. Is it?
Yeah,
he's in another dimension.
Yeah. Somebody called that in the review. I'm here to review the Mario Isekai. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, it's interesting if you compare it to Sonic too, because Sonic is like a guy that comes from another world through a portal into our world to the human world, and obviously that's live action. Whereas Mario is a human that goes from the human world into this fantastical video game world.
Also live action.
And Narnia. Narnia is an Isekai too. Gee.
The beginning should have been live action, and then when he goes in the warp to
that would have made me sick. I would not have liked that.
Yeah, it should have been Chris Pratt dressed in a Mario suit.
You don't believe my dreams as he's playing Kid Icarus. I'm
honestly,
like, Chris Pratt.
That would have made it a modern day Wizard of Oz had they decided to try. Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
We get to Donkey Kong country, as it were.
Yes.
They have it.
We get our Kong on. He literally says it's on Donkey Kong, Mike. Something I never thought I would ever see Donkey Kong say. So again, I'm sort of sitting in my seat going okay.
He does say it's on like me at some point. Oh my god.
Yeah.
My question is, who is this first gorilla guy that we meet with the white sports coat or whatever? Do you guys know that character?
That's Funky.
I would disagree with that because I think the guy with the bandana making the cars is supposed to be Funky. Jacob, I think the sports coat is literally just for them to set up "Take on Me" as an '80s song. I don't think there's any plot reason.
Is this an '80s Kong?
He has a rolled up '80s sports coat, and literally they call it out, and Toad says, "I feel underdressed," and then they play "Take on Me." It seems like that's the reason why.
There's a lot of emphasis on this character that I had no idea if that was an established Kong character. Yeah.
Now, sometimes I want to point this out real quick because you said this thing up top about celebrities pushing out voice actors. Now, the Penguin King is played by Kari Payton, who's of
Yes.
course a TV actor as well. We know him
Walking
as
Dead.
Ezekiel from Walking Dead, but mainly the Teen Titans Go connection. He has voiced Cyborg in 5,000 Things for a Million Years. Now, other weird emphasis characters, what will become the Blue Shell guy, the Koopa General guy, that's Robin. So I almost wonder if like maybe this Gorella's like Beast Boy or somebody, Jacob. It could be somebody from the Teen Titans Go cast. I truly have no idea.
Dang, this has layers to it. That's pretty interesting. I hadn't realized. But yeah, creatives like to work with each other. That makes a lot.
And good real voice actors, not just celebrities. That's the main thing.
Right, right. And it, again, they want to put names on posters. They want to put music on the soundtrack. Some of this stuff can't be helped, unfortunately. Different time. But speaking of voice actors that shouldn't be doing what they're doing, Cranky Kong doesn't want to give us the army. And he is bad at delivering that news. It's not only bad news, but it sounds bad when you hear it.
And Fred Armisen's take on this is like, oh, like Seth Rogen's just going to do his voice. Well, since I'm his dad, I'll just play like an old Jew. And you're like, oh, I don't know about that, Fred Armisen. I don't think that's what Cranky Kong should be.
And I think we've had Cranky Kong voice lines in other games and even the TV show. And it's like, there's a
Mike, did you watch that weird CG TV show when we were kids?
Did I ever? That's like got to be one of the first.
Crystal Coconut. Do you remember that?
Yep. And it was like before Reboot. It's got to be one of the first fully animated children's shows.
Yeah, it's got to be around there. Yeah.
It might be the first. Who knows? But
was it a Blockbuster original? Could I also throw that out there? I feel like the tapes were only found at Blockbuster.
I saw it on TV.
Okay. Interesting.
It was being broadcast. So who knows? But we do see nods to the cabin from Donkey Kong Country. It looks exactly like it. And it looks similar to the way it did in the show. And the rocking chair that Cranky sits in is there. Like, we're getting a ton of Donkey Kong Easter eggs here, too. But plot-wise, you can't have my army. What if I beat up your son? Okay, if you beat up my son, you can have the army. So then we get.
What if I played Smash Bros? And they're like, "What's Smash Bros?" And they're like, "It's another very successkong franchise we're building towards."
Yes. So
of course, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's dad is disappointed in him too. So that's something that him and Mario have in common. And they maybe can bond over that.
Yeah. And worth pointing out, the original villain of the Mario franchise.
Yeah, correct. Because in the original Donkey Kong, Jumpman, aka Mario, has to go up the scaffolding with the barrels, save the princess. That's kind of the whole thing. And then eventually Mario kidnaps Donkey Kong, and then Donkey Kong Jr. has to save his dad from Mario. So it's a very toxic relationship these two have established over the last few years, which I guess it makes sense why Donkey Kong doesn't like Mario initially, because historically, at least as far as the games are concerned, they've had a wild relationship. So some of that universal anger came to this parallel one. But we get a 1v1. It's very Smash Brothers. There's a little bit of Donkey Kong in there with the red, I-beams. I wanted Jungle Japes from Smash, missed opportunity. But they do some of the moves and stuff, and it's a big arena, and it's this whole thing. Anything notable worth mentioning here?
No, we get the DK rap, and then of course the
cat suit.
The big Mario edition is in the latest entry. It's the 3D worlds. They've added this new power up, the cat bell / cat suit.
Love the cat suit.
It's fine.
Big fan of the cat suit.
Did you like this fight though, Jacob? Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I like the cat suit. You can climb up walls. You can be a little kitty cat.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's great. And then later he gets the Tanuki suit, of course, but I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
He gets a small mushroom initially too. He gets a power up.
Of course, we got to set that up.
And then they set up, he eats the blue mushroom, he shrinks down, and then
I put power ups in the tournament.
So you don't get destroyed.
Uncle Fester, what is happening here?
But yeah, so they showcase some of the different power ups, and then honestly, that's setup and payoff. We got to say third act, we'll get there. But so there's a battle. Somehow Mario, he gets the right big power up. He eventually wins. His desperate battle, and now we have the army. So we got to get over there. And how are we going to get over there? We need transportation.
We have the army. We're setting up moving there, and we're about to talk about these people. But I do want to point out there's sort of just an inert villain issue in this screenplay, which is that you open it. The literal first scene of this movie that Mike said is Bowser wins and gets the superstar. And then from there, he kind of just rests on his laurels the entire movie. Because he's kind of like, I did it. I'm gonna marry Peach. They're like, okay. And they find
Bruises over
Luigi
there.
and they're like, well, there's this other guy. And he's like, there's another guy, and that kind of gets him going, but it's not like he's getting involved or anything. It's just
Yeah.
it's a very stagnant villain, and it's a very weird choice to open the film that way and just sort of hide him in the back the rest of the time.
Yeah, and I guess it's a good time to point out the 5 minutes of plot that Luigi gets, because he gets
Yeah.
separated. They tease like it's the Badlands or the Danger Zone, whatever they call it, but it's like a spooky zone. and
Shadowlands.
Yeah, the Shadowlands, and there's a bunch of dry bones, the skeleton Koopas, and they fall apart and come back together. There's a whole thing. He runs into a castle. It should have been a mansion. That's spooky. He barely makes it in there, and then he's immediately just captured by Shy Guys. Like, we don't get an extended sequence with the
Yeah.
vacuum.
Another
He
very
just-
scary
But
scene.
how,
One
yeah, how
chase,
is that not a
capture.
boo sequence? And maybe a
Or
little
a
too
boo
scary for
sequence.
this kids movie, Jacob.
Yeah.
There's some jump scares with those Shy Guys where I'm like, I just don't even like looking at
Those
them.
guys
I
were
understand they are
scary
going to
looking.
be there. Yeah, it's
They
like,
looked
ugh.
great. Texture of the mask, but he gets
Ooh.
captured right away, and then Bowser's like, "Oh, there's another one like you who's hanging out with Peach. I have a crush on Peach." And he's playing the whole thing like it's sometimes funny, like insecure. Like, was she impressed by what Mario did? Like, was she into it? Like, he's so kind of insecure, but he doesn't do
Yeah.
anything. He just talks about once I get there,
No.
I'm gonna marry her. He's just kind of sitting around.
Yeah, and they want to have it both ways where they're like, we have Jack Black, and it's like, okay, so is it going to be a full-on musical? And it's like, some scenes he's going to be watching the Koopas play metal music, and you're like, is he going to play metal music? And they're like, some scenes he's going to play the piano, and you're like, okay, but like,
Yeah, he's gonna do a
to
piano
someone, it's going to
ballad.
be like a scene of that. It's like, not really.
It'll be 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Jack Black, like I said, I think his voice was a standout, but I think you're right, Colin. Like Bowser, he kind of has this plan at the beginning, but then he doesn't actually go to like Princess Peach's castle until the third act because he just kind of has to
There's
wait
nothing.
around for the plot of
His
the movie to
flying
happen.
fortress is going there. It just takes forever, and he doesn't do it. He just says, "Go do the thing." He's not
Yeah.
active. You're right. He's very passive, and he just.
But then
talks
when we
about, "I
have
can't wait for my
Mario,
wedding."
yeah, we have them all going on the Mario Karts, and then but they get separated while they're on their way there, and then end up just going back to Princess Peach's castle.
Yeah,
right?
because finally Bowser intercepts and does something, but it's mainly him just offloading 1,000 Koopas doing Mario Kart or Mad Mario Rainbow Road, which is my favorite sequence of the movie for sure.
Yeah.
I want to talk about building the carts. Like it was just Easter eggs. It was cool that they gave you the dials to choose your body and your wheels. Like it's very game. And when you press the button, it had an A on it. She presses an A button, and it's like, okay,
Wow.
you're doing the thing. But
And Princess Peach had a
bike.
motorcycle, which I always like to use the motorcycles in Mario Kart 8,
yeah.
which is the one I've played the most probably
Toad had a
in
big
recent years.
heavyweight cart. Mario had
Yeah.
a standard cart. It was alleged that you could see the Hyrule bike somewhere in the background.
No fucking way.
I've only seen the movie once. An Easter egg said it, but plot-wise, it is weird because they want to go out to Bowser's castle, then they get jumped by Bowser and end up just going back to where they kind of started the journey.
Yeah, like
They're
Princess
real
Peach is
travel.
like, I need to go
Yeah.
back to the castle now, and then
Why? I don't
races
understand. To
back.
rally the Toads, they're literally not
Yeah.
going to do it.
Or to evacuate them.
Well,
but
she's
either
like, you gotta
way-
get out of the city because Bowser's coming. And then she somehow still beats him on the motorcycle. She like races back while he's like on his way there with his castle. I don't know. It's a little confusing.
in a
Yeah,
fucking
let's-
floating island.
Let's take a
Yeah.
minute and we'll come back and we'll talk the race scene that's very exciting, very Mad Max, and kind of the third act, wrap it up, and then we'll get into final thoughts right after this.
We're back here on Normies Like Us talking the Super Mario Brothers movie, and we're talking riding the Rainbow Road, where we will head to Valhalla, shiny and new.
I think this is the beginning of our big third act. You know, we're finally confronting the villains head on. The rest of it is just like, I'm here, I'm training, fight Donkey Kong once. Like, we're finally confronting enemies as the heroes, and they get ambushed on the Rainbow Road.
Yes.
And this is a
It is
great
very Mad Max.
set piece. It's awesome.
Is there's 5,000 things I want to say, but just real quick, I'll say that the visuals, Mike, you just said that thing about like the textures, like
Yeah.
they're like when you see Mario's hat, it looks like you could feel it and it would feel different than everything else in the movie. Like the visuals are incredible. I'm not saying anything
Bowser's
about
fingernails have a different texture than his skin. Like it feels very tactile. It is nuts.
And if you watch the credits, like the overlay people who are like, I was the fur technician, I was the hair, I was the scales. Like, it is incredible. It is an incredible skill people do now.
Yeah, I'd say the animation as a whole was really good, and it just shows like how far that's come from even in the 2000s where you have so much more detail. You can do different effects and stuff. And like you said, there's so many people work on it. Like when we were sitting in the credits, it's like hundreds of people like working on the
5,000
animation
names.
on it. It's crazy.
All French because
Yeah.
it's Illumination. And again, Sonic had teeth 5 years ago. They were horrifying.
Yeah.
All that to say, visually it looks incredible. But when the bad reviews were coming in, I was like, I'm not sweating it. It's okay. I was doubting for a minute. I'm back around because I know Jacob got us the 3D tickets. And I know that when he's riding that Mario Kart on the Rainbow Road, I'm going to be able to look up at a certain point and like feel like I'm fucking racing down that thing in like a VR Nintendo headset that they're never going to come out with.
Right.
That is unfortunately not the case. The 3D fucking sucked on Rainbow Road. I know we said it before, but really the only times the 3D were popping was when there was snow overlay particle effects in the opening scene, and then later there's some smoke from some lava that looks pretty good. But that's really it. They could have. You got fucking Rainbow Road. You're not making stuff fucking fly at me.
Yeah. I think the
know.
3D as a
Bells and
whole,
stuff. Yeah.
it didn't take
Yeah.
away from the movie, but it didn't really add that much. It was just kind
This
of
is
there.
throwing. These are shells and banana peels are supposed to be fucking flying
Bullet
at you when
bills.
you're playing Mario Kart. Yes.
All
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Nothing.
No. The 3D worked best in the end credits, weirdly. Like where they had stylized, for all the above the line people, that was the best the 3D looked, and it wasn't additive at any other time. I could have watched it in 2D for sure. But the blocking and choreography of the scene is exciting, and you get tons of Easter eggs. They use all the powers. He does the drift with the different colored sparks and gets a drift boost, which is a mechanic, and does a shortcut. So you get
the
all
wheels
the
turn
Easter
sideways.
eggs.
Yeah.
Yes, he does like the magnetic. Yeah.
Yeah, and they get all the powers. We got banana, blue shell. I don't know if we got a red shell, but we get green shell, blue shell. You get bullet bills and all kinds of stuff from a double dash moment where you have two people riding on the same cart, which I love double dash. So a lot of Easter eggs in this sequence, a lot of exciting stuff happening, tons of pixels on screen. 3D just wasn't well, but it is probably the most exciting sequence.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. But if Jacob, any thoughts on this before we cruise on?
No.
They get separated eventually. They lose.
Yeah.
They lose the race. I mean, Koopa's power forces overpower them. They capture all the DK army. They capture. Well, Peach drives back, and then Donkey Kong and Mario are separated. They fall into the ocean. They get eaten by Unagi the eel from Mario 64. Then
Mario saves DK's life. This is the turning moment. They're best friends now.
They both realize, oh, your dad doesn't like you either, and they have this moment inside the whale.
They both have daddy issues. Very common thing to have in common with a guy, with a person. And they become friends in this eel. Yeah.
They become friends incredibly quick. And again, to talk about the economy of the screenplay of this film that is 90 minutes that we're cruising through because it cruises through. We get this sort of stuff where it's like DK's getting angry and loud. He's making noise. They realize that makes the fish angry. Okay, they're knocked into his old car. He looks at him and goes, I've got an idea. The camera then just cuts away. They're released from the fish. They're riding out on his little cannon thing. And Mario goes, that was a great idea. And it's like, the screenplay just sometimes will tell you how scenes need to end so that the characters can literally just get to the end of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't discuss the plan. It could just be like,
don't worry about it.
Push the camera on the rocket barrel. Dolly into it.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah, at least, Mike, they don't even do that. It's wild.
But that is a power from, I guess, one of the later Donkey Kong games, riding on a rocket barrel. So that's like another reference to a thing. Again, that's all this is. That's all we're here for, really. It's like, get me through the plot points with enough familiar iconography that I can suspend disbelief with the power. Just have fun, I guess.
Yeah, show me Diddy Kong.
Yeah, so they're flying back. Yeah, we saw Diddy Kong. I pointed. I said, that's Diddy Kong. So they get back to the castle.
I love him.
Bowser's threatening all of the citizens of Mushroom Kingdom if Peach doesn't marry him. So she begrudgingly says, all right, I'll marry you. And we're getting in the middle of the ceremony by the time Mario shows up, and we needed to disrupt this thing. And Bowser also wants to sacrifice all the prisoners, including Penguin King, Luigi, all the Donkey Kong extended family. So that's our stakes.
And here's our screenplay again, Mike. Toad runs in and says, Princess, I got you the thing. She says, great, I needed the thing. The
Yeah.
wedding starts. They walk up. Is there going to be scenes where we get Bowser character development where he says why he's done this, why he's so obsessed, what it would mean to him? Are we going to get anybody else interacting? No, Peach just immediately goes, here's this thing. My plan was to do this. I'm doing it now. And she starts attacking, and you just go like, why do we even need the other scene? Or get, like, at that point, cut out the scene of her getting the flower. Who gives a shit about any of it? Just keep it all moving. You're making me watch this movie and fast forward anyways.
You were gonna just attack him anyhow. Yeah, but
I think they basically were very just worried about anyone getting bored in any one scene. So they're like, we're just gonna keep it moving as quick as possible. As soon as you're in one scene, you're like in the next scene, and they were just like very paranoid about people any lag time in this movie. It seems like, which I think is a good strategy for kids who have very short.
Turns out,
spans.
if you want to make the most successful animated movie of all time, it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have to, another movie that has quick pacing that's almost like vignettes is D&D, and it does it better. But and there's
But
plot
D&D, at
points.
least that movie's like over 2 hours long.
That's true.
Has
An
time
hour and
to
a half
breathe
version of
and-
D&D would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about how they conquer so many locations in that, and this it's truly not even like they go through that many locations, but you still feel like the movie's running so much that when we're now at the point where Mario saves Luigi, I'm like, you had those lines about how the place is inescapable. You had all those scenes setting up that prison again. Why did we ever cut back to that if you didn't give Luigi anything? There's no B plot in this movie. There's barely an A plot. There's no B plot in this
There
movie.
is none.
You've got nothing for Luigi.
Luigi's just there to help out at the end, basically. Like he's captured for most of the movie. His arc is just that he's scared of stuff, and he needs his brother to be there to kind of
Big
give him
tough
courage.
Boy.
Yeah.
Give him kisses.
Which I think
yeah,
you could
exactly.
spin off to if we're talking at the end we're going to talk more about like what other Nintendo movies you want to see or whatever. They could do like a Luigi's Mansion spin-off that focuses on Luigi as the main character and be like, and kind of give him an arc of like, all right, I need to do this like separate from my brother and like learn to have courage for myself and all that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense after this too, especially. So I think that we'll talk more about that in the close. But yeah, we get, it's a Nintendo punch 'em up. Nothing's crazy. She's shooting ice powers. They save everybody. Donkey Kong uses his strength to turn the crank and pull everybody back up out of lava. And how do we get to New York?
They all get sucked into the
I'll
tube.
tell you exactly how it would do because
We go to
this
the real
was
world.
shocking to me.
Yeah.
We go to the real world. We get the Mamma Mia trick. So in the Tanuki suit, the bullet bill, the bonsai bill is
correct,
fired at the Mushroom Kingdom. It's going to destroy it all. Mario sacrifices himself. He goes down. Hey, I can't stop this thing. What am I going to do? Like a little gnat, he hits it in the eye, draws its attention, realizes he's by the warp pipe to the real world. He's going to do the Mamma Mia trick, a backflip at the last second to dodge it like he did with the dog. Bonsai Bill goes into the pipe, blows up. Everyone is sucked in the nearby radius, including Bowser's giant castle, all our friends, Donkey Kong and such, into the real world. And I just, conceivably, I just did not think this was going to happen. Narratively, it of course makes sense that the quote-unquote Super Mario Brothers need to prove themselves in front of the people they needed to prove themselves in front of. But to me, it was such a de-escalation to leave the cool fantasy world and to go back to the real world, and it just felt so tight and small all of a sudden. But again, I understand it story-wise, but how did you guys feel about these?
Well, it's very funny when at the end they're his parents are impressed. They're like, "Oh, Mario, Luigi, you saved Brooklyn from these random creatures we've never seen before."
What were you doing earlier? What is this?
Yeah.
You need to
Like,
speak
I would
to
have
the
so many
president,
questions.
NATO, the UN. Like we need to know what this is. Yeah.
Who is that woman? Were you glowing a second ago?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, which I guess the power-ups also work in the real world too. Like everything just works how it works in that other world.
Yeah, God forbid they bring some stuff back with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. We could change the course of humanity if we just get some of this technology brought through. Yeah.
It's like Tron.
Yeah.
Right.
Wild.
So I thought it was fine, like for a third act kind of climax, big boss fight. Obviously, they get the star. Luigi and Mario become invincible, are able to defeat Bowser.
Great kinetic sequence again. That's happening
Yeah.
throughout all this. We're getting the moves and the music, and
The movie works the best, Mike, when this 3D film that's shot, with this camera that can go anywhere, when it instead cuts to a side view and just watches 2D people sort of like run and jump, and you go like, yeah, because that's what made the game good.
Yeah, and those are the best sequences, and there's a little bit of references to Smash Brothers and stuff. They do the 64 tail spin to throw him into the air, and so they do all the
Yes.
stuff. They defeat him, and at the end of the day, they feed him a blue mushroom, and he shrinks down. Put him in a little jar, and he's just a little guy now, and the day is saved.
It's just a little baby turtle.
Yeah,
And then Spike, the human villain of the Spike's wrecking crew, says, "Give it up for the Super Mario Brothers!" Ayo.
Yep, and I think
okay.
I think he is the character Wreck-It Ralph is based off.
Oh, sure.
Because he run the construction was another.
Well, there is a Spike that's like one of the Bowser Juniors. His name's Spike, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole like Bowser family that they have.
But the
like,
wrecking
Iggy
crew was a game.
No, and they were the rock band. All the Koopalings or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
They're the ones playing for Bowser or his children? Oh, is Bowser Jr. there?
I didn't see Bowser Jr. in his little thing. I didn't see a Bowser Jr.
His clown car.
No, but the Koopalings were there.
Right.
But yeah, regardless, they're getting put over. Even the dog nods at him. You're all right by me. You're all right by me, Mario Brothers.
The dog comes back in the finale. It's wild.
Mario gets the girl, basically. Him and Princess Peach, they like each other.
And by this point, like, it's ending. Like, it's wrapping up super fast, and I kind of have a headache.
Freeze frame.
But I am sort of nodding along and be like, yes, that was Mario. So, like, I guess what more could I ask for?
Yeah.
Yeah. What more do you want?
I mean, for me, if we're getting into sort of final thoughts, for me, I thought it was exactly kind of what I was expecting it to be. A Mario movie made by Illumination. I thought it was very sort of generic plot-wise and very like workman-like script where it's just like getting from point A to point B, but obviously what you're there for is all the references, all the Easter eggs, and all the Mario stuff. And I thought it was just fine, basically. Is it a movie I'll ever watch again? Maybe not. Probably not. But, it was a movie.
I'll say what I was there for, which was that I'm in this abusive relationship with Nintendo. I've pointed out in the past.
Damn, that's true, yeah.
I pay too much money for their video games, and this Mafia Don who threatens things without directly saying it can basically be like, wow, we didn't make a lot of movies when the last one failed, so and you're kind of like, yeah, and I want to see Zelda, and I want to see Samus, and I want to see all these characters. This has to work.
Do you?
Please. Not like this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to see a deal continue with Illumination. I wouldn't like to see them all animated. I would like to see the old variety that truly did used to exist with Marvel movies, and then now there's just homogeny. I don't want to.
When it comes to
Nintendo.
If they do decide to make more movies, they should branch out. Legend of Zelda and Samus could both be live action movies, right? I mean, Samus is just a person in a spacesuit, and you could do that. It would be like a sci-fi movie. That would be cool. And then Legend of Zelda, depending on what kind of stylized version of it you're going with from which game, or what story you even want to adapt.
Hand-drawn Miyazaki. How did we never get it, Mike?
Yeah, right.
That's the only way to do the Legend of Zelda.
Guys, the flaw in your logic, however, of splitting it up and doing a live action or hand-drawn is we cannot build the NCU up to the Smash Brothers movie because they all have to look the same and be in the similar art style so that we have the
I don't
Smash
know.
Brothers movie.
So you want all Nintendo Illumination animated movies that just all are in the same universe?
That has the right tone. A different studio for each one, but I would do them all animated.
Yeah, but like the moment where Link pulls the sword out and you hear, "Hey, now he's a rock star. Get your game on." You're just like, "This, I will blow you up, Universal Studios, if you make that happen."
Yeah.
Well, I saw this whole graphic someone made like on Twitter. It was like, this could be the possible release schedule of the Nintendo connected universe. And it was like all these things, and then the last one was like an Avengers style team up, the Super Smash Brothers movie. I'm like,
I
does
don't-
anyone really want that? Like
that movie can just be that movie. I don't need
Yeah.
anything to build towards. I don't need no.
no.
Well,
Like if
all
they
right.
made a Zelda movie, like it shouldn't even cross over. Like, it should just be a Zelda movie in the Zelda universe.
Right. We don't live in that commercial age anymore. What are you thinking?
No.
We have to. And the half that we do, I'm worried about, Mike.
Let me make my belief. It's not what I maybe want, but it's what I believe.
Yeah.
First of all, I think I'm the most charitable on this movie. It's like the best you could have done with a Super Mario movie. Like, I mean, not script wise, but what more do you want? They did all the stuff, tons of Easter eggs. They gave fans the fan service Mario movie. And that's what video game people have been begging for. Even The Last of Us, it's basically just give us what we want, you know, and they did that. So, you know, punch it up for the second outing, just like Sonic 2.
Yeah.
But this changes the rules of video game adaptations, and I think Grace brought this up too. The success of this and the way that it was just, well, Shigeru Miyamoto is heavily involved, and we're trying to make sure like we keep video game side of it involved in the creative process, just like The Last of Us. We might get more direct, more Easter eggy adaptations of this stuff, because Grace Movie Math said this. No longer is Hollywood presenting to video game companies, here's an opportunity to grow your brand. Video game companies, if you're as big as Nintendo or Mario, you can say, hey, Universal, here's an opportunity to get a piece of our audience, which is much larger than your current one.
Right.
So the power has shifted, and the success of this shows that now video game companies, they're going to have more creative control because the Hollywood system wants their audience because it outsells and outperforms even movies. It's the biggest entertainment industry in the world is video games. So this is a shift, I think, significantly.
And I think it shows they could have done this years earlier. There's really a dark time for video game adaptations where people couldn't figure out how to do it. They still can't figure out how to make Resident Evil. Yeah.
Right.
And Resident Evil, like they still can't make a good one. But Sonic kind of paved the way for like this mascot kind of thing. Mario, it's even easier to make. It's not easy to make an animated film, but it's easier to make that aesthetic just match kind of what it looks like in the games. It's not like Sonic. I still give Sonic more credit because they're like, all right, we're gonna bring Sonic into the real world in live action and have this animated character act against live action people. I think that's more impressive than what the Mario movie did.
I'm with you, Jacob. If the video game to movie adaptation pipeline is the weird stuff, I'm much happier than Jack Black being on the red carpet being like, well, Red Dead 2 would be the biggest. It's like, yeah, it would just be a Western TV show. What is that? What is The Last of Us?
Mm-hmm.
Red Dead 2, like people say, oh, it's very cinematic story and everything, but that's because it is just a Western, and there's like we've made like hundreds of Westerns that you can just watch. Like
it's cinematic because when I'm spinning the joystick around, I'm going like, look at how cinematic I'm being.
Yeah. Totally pandering my horse.
I think if anything, that would work more as a mini series or something like an HBO series. But again, you can just watch Deadwood. Like they already made that show.
I think now we're going to be final thoughts proper. There was just a transition with the original Mario Brothers music from that show. I think stylized is the way to go. I appreciate that this had a style and a look. Like we said, the best thing is the animation and the way the world looks. Brought the Mushroom Kingdom to life as good as you could. So if the same thought process and creative goes into how do we bring Hyrule to life, even if it's all CG? How do we bring Planet Zebes to life, right? Even if it's all CG and you just treat it with the integrity for the IP, I think there's a lot of success to be had in this ongoing, even if it's not a connected universe. So I want to see more of these CG things, maybe with different studios. And I think this is a sign of the changing of the guard, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a gold rush to snatch up as many IPs as you can at this point, especially for family movies. Easter weekend. Go.
Turns out.
I just think they may have diminishing returns in terms of, oh, here's the Zelda movie. All right, people go to that. Here's the Samus movie. Here's the Kirby movie. And then it's going to get to the point where kind of what the MCU is dealing with now, where it's like, oh, you guys all want to see the Marvels, right? Everyone's going to go see that. Like, it's just movies that like people don't really care as much anymore. Or like even Ant-Man, like, oh, you're going to see Ant-Man 3. So it's going to get
Kirby
to that point.
3, The Whispering Woods.
Maybe the lesson should be learned here. Yeah, that maybe we're sick of MCU cinematic universes. Maybe even DC needs to reflect on that.
I think
too,
so.
Actually,
but think about what you guys are saying though. You're saying that to a company who, when we were kids, the '90s movie 80s movies, 70s movies, 60s movies, in the 2000s even. The number that films tried to hit was $100 million. And if you made that amount of money, you were guaranteed a sequel. You weren't guaranteed a sequel. You were guaranteed bonuses for box office revenue if you were creative with a good agent. You were guaranteed an executive was going to call you on Thanksgiving, drunk on champagne, high on cocaine, saying, "You're the reason I had a good year this year," if you were the director of that. Now, this film, to put it in context, domestically made $195 million. So
And it's
almost
opening weekend.
double. And its opening weekend, Jacob,
Yeah.
did almost double what films used to strive to try to make.
Yeah,
So,
and now if you're
Lifetime global.
how could you say to anyone then, don't burn too bright, don't make too much, you're gonna fuck this up for everybody?
Yeah.
right.
They're gonna
No,
have
I think
to.
if anything, they're gonna want to work with Illumination again because it was so successful.
It'll be a Mario sequel because they have to compete with Sonic right now.
Yeah, well, and I have a pitch for the Mario sequel too, which
I
I'll
do
get
too.
into.
I want to hear all
Oh,
these,
let's go.
please.
You guys go first. I'll just sit
But
back and relax.
Just what I wanted to say about the connected universe is like really the lesson from that in the past decade is that MCU is the only one who's really pulled it off successfully. Obviously, DC has had a bunch of problems. Harry Potter, that IP is in the toilet right now. So if anything, I would say be cautious, Nintendo, because
Don't do that.
yeah, connected universes can really backfire on you. So for my Mario sequel, what I think they should
Also,
do.
real quick, say what the post-credit scene was, because that
what was it?
seems to set up what they want to be a sequel, which is there's a Yoshi
remember.
egg in New York.
Oh,
There's a Yoshi egg in New York that's hatching, and then they seem to
Great.
be living in Mushroom Kingdom.
we can
It's like
do
Godzilla. It's
Godzilla
like the
2000.
post-credit scene of Godzilla 2000. It
Correct.
really is, yeah.
The Matthew Broderick back.
Yeah, I'd love it. Just
So
Yoshi's
your pitch
going
for the sequel.
rampaging in New York.
You have to include Yoshi now.
You
That's
have
the stipulation.
Yoshi can be in it, but the main idea is that the villains of this would be Wario and Waluigi, and they would be
oh
like
my god.
evil doppelgangers of Mario and Luigi. Bring them in as the big villains in this. I don't have too much, thought
You
out, but
start
it's
there.
mainly
They challenge
that.
him to a
Yeah.
series of sports. A sports
Mike,
tournament, perhaps.
I have the rest of this
Oh, I'm
because
sorry,
literally
Colin,
that
take it
was
away.
my pitch. Is
That's Colin's
that
pitch.
you have Wario and Waluigi coming in, financing, not necessarily, but being the masterminds pulling the strings to the Koopalings. You have all of Bowser's kids wanting revenge against Mario, who's now, of course, moved to the Mushroom Kingdom. And they challenge as a group, and Wario and Waluigi, Mario and his friends, to games of sorts. And it's a send up to Mario Party, the Mario Sports franchises and such.
Sure,
And it's
yeah.
this huge, Hunger Game style progression. Yoshi's there too, because Mario has to tame his wild new friend, right? Donkey
maybe it's
Kong
like,
brings Diddy.
Yeah, it's like Space Jam, where they're like, all right, if you play us in these different sports, if we win, we get Bowser back because he's being held
Yes.
captive as this little turtle guy.
Oh, that's great.
I have
Yeah.
a note too. This is great. Listen to us, writers, because it's better than anything you did with your first script.
Yes,
In order of fairness, they say we have all these games that we play in the Mushroom Kingdom, but in fairness, you tell us what you play on your realm, tennis, golf, and we'll
Golf.
include
Mario
some of those
basketball.
on the Mario Party board. So now some
Yeah.
of those random games can be a
That's
tennis
great.
match, and then that you get all of the mini games.
You could do Super Smash. You could have like a fighting, like a brawl type situation where like, all right, we got these platforms. We're gonna fight on these platforms.
Yeah, this is something that we do here. It's our culture.
Peach says there's multiple galaxies out there. We have a Luma, which is sort of the big Mario Galaxies characters with Lumina or whatever her name is. I think they seem to be going towards a Mario Galaxies angle for the sequel. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, I don't know what villains out there. We'll have to see. But
or
I like-
Rosalina.
But if you have this whole
yeah,
contest situation like we're pitching, then you could have cameos of Zelda, Samus, Kirby. Everyone's there.
I don't need that. I'm saying keep it in Mario Dog. You keep trying to blend it all. I don't think Nintendo needs to do that. I respect
you're right.
all
Let
the
Mario
IPs
stay
to
as
keep
Mario-
them separate.
even though they
Yes.
brought Donkey Kong, but they have a history. I'm okay with
They
that.
have a history. They're not going to just make a Donkey Kong movie, Mike. Or maybe
That's
they
true.
will. I don't know.
Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah,
That'd
right.
be great.
You need to watch
Well,
the
I
viewer
guess-
retention charts. They spike
Yeah.
up when
Hey,
Seth
rule.
Rogen
It's
laughs.
just
Everyone
Donkey
loves
Kong
that
versus
part.
pirates. It'd be very funny.
I mean, if you think
Yeah.
about, what the Minions Empire came from, one Despicable Me movie and then branches out from there where there's like how many Minion movies there are now.
3
featuring
Despicable
Minions.
Me's, 3 Minions. So
Yeah.
they've covered the full
And
game.
the Rise of Gru, that's like is that the Minions Rise of Gru or whatever? Where
It's
he's
like
a
a
baby.
crossover is the third one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So if they can do that with just Minions, I mean, they could pump out a billion of these Mario movies, right?
Yeah, and there's enough character, and they've at least set the stage. Families seem to like it, audiences like it, so they're of course going to make more. I think it will just be a straight sequel for it. So we'll have to see. Maybe Yoshi will be hanging out in the apartment, eating pasta, loving mushrooms for a couple scenes. You gotta get this dinosaur out of here.
feeding a Yoshi?
Yeah, who knows? But a
Yeah.
bunch of wacky stuff could go down. But overall, I think they did what they could. You know.
Yeah, I
Not
thought it
gonna
was
win
just
any
fine.
awards. Fine.
Didn't blow
To
me
sum
away.
it up, overall, they did
Yeah.
what they could. What a thing!
You're
They
right.
did
What
what they could.
the power-ups give you powers.
The power-ups give you powers.
It's not a movie that I will probably ever
Excuse
think
me?
about again after we're done
No.
talking, but
Here's the
Never
ultimate
once.
question.
yeah.
In video game world, Mario walked so that Sonic could run. Now in the movie world, Sonic is walking
Sonic
so Mario
ran,
can
so
run.
Mario could run.
Right. And and Kurosawa ran too, but Shakespeare did that first. Anyway, if you were to pick one, do you prefer the Sonic? It almost has to be Sonic 1 versus Mario 1, because I know I like Sonic 2 better, but what do you prefer, Sonic 1 or Mario 1?
I'd
I
take
was
Sonic.
so critical of the bring him to our world. Why is Sonic making excuses that James Marsden needs to drive him in a car? And now I have rewatched that film like 3 times, and it brings
Yeah.
such a smile to my face, Mike, that it's not even a question. Not even a question.
Yeah, okay.
One
Which is
I
wild, 'cause
like.
you're the Nintendo guy.
You're the Nintendo guy. I'm not. I have no loyalty to Nintendo or Mario or Sonic really, but I do like Sonic better.
I do
like
like chili dogs, though.
I like chili
That's
dogs.
what you followed
I
it
like
up
going
with.
fast.
I have
I
no
I
loyalty
like
to it, Corey.
I like
do
his
chili
voice. His voice actor better than the Mario voice actor.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Sonic's got a lot going for him.
Idris Elba's great in the second one.
That's right.
Who do you want, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong or Idris Elba as Knuckles, bro? Come on.
Well, who will they get for Wario? And like, if they go with Wario and
Okay.
Waluigi,
Great
get some crazy
questions.
celeb
So
casting.
first off, I'm gonna say Morgan Freeman as Yoshi.
Morgan Freeman, isn't he like
pitch
90
it up.
million years old?
Jack Black has said his pick for Wario is Pedro Pascal. I think that's really funny.
That would be
Wow.
great. And obviously, Pedro Pascal is a huge name right now. That sounds perfect to me.
You just get another guy from Always Sunny to be Waluigi.
Yeah, get
If
Glenn
Rob
Howerton.
or if Dennis were him, yes, that
Yeah,
would be
Yeah,
great.
that's how
That
you
would be
do it.
hilarious.
All right,
Yes.
those are or
We've done it.
you get Danny. Danny DeVito as Wario would be incredibly
Oh
inspired.
my
oh,
God. Yeah.
That would
What?
be.
I'm gonna put you in the trash, Mario.
That's- That would be too
be
perfect.
Oh my
incredible.
God.
And then you get John Leguizamo to play Waluigi or something.
Yes,
Prince
that
2.
that would
Did-
be amazing.
Done it.
Yeah. Although he said he was
That's
like
maybe the
boycotting
combo.
Mario because he's like,
Yeah, it
didn't like that they-
Bob Hoskins, God rest his soul, but John Leguizamo, I think you need to relax about that. I understand
Yeah.
you saying it's backtracking. I'm not positive. Anybody could be in a voice for a Mario movie, so I would like to see you come back for it.
Yeah.
that would be a very funny
If you're upset
cameo.
with Luigi, be Waluigi.
Yes.
The shape of
It's
their
a better
truck is a
part.
reference to that original movie too. The little truck they drive around in, it's very similar to the one him and Bob Hoskins are in. So like there
Yeah.
is a little nod to that original attempt too, which is nice that they're not just burying it. I would love to
All
I
right,
think
Mike,
that's some
who's
perfect
voicing
casting.
Daisy?
Daisy? Mary Elizabeth
Who's just like-
Winstead.
Daisy Ridley.
It's
Daisy Ridley. Yeah, I'm with that. But she's
You know what?
Disney
I
money.
like
She's
both.
Disney money.
I
We
like
can't get
both.
her over here. We need
yeah,
somebody
she
on
can't.
Universal
It's
side.
impossible, dog.
Bryce Dallas Howard would do it. It's Bryce Dallas Howard, guaranteed.
Oh, she would do it in a minute.
Yep. Easy. Easy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our fan cast. Yeah, I think, good enough. It's good. So bad.
It's good enough.
It's
I'm
just this weird
inoffended.
thing where it's like, if I have a kid, I would be excited to show them the weird one from my youth, and then my wife would be like, "Why didn't you show them the like one for kids when they were kids?" And I'd be like,
Yeah.
"The what one?" Like I would not remember that this
Depends
movie
on the
existed.
age. I think if you're like up to like 10 or 12, you'll like this movie a lot. And then once they get to be like a teenager, then you can show them the
When
the
you're
90s
15
version.
and I can explain to you who Dennis Hopper was.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll go
You have to understand, cocaine was a human and his name was Dennis Hopper.
That's why
Right.
he was in Speed.
R.I.P.
Oh, he absolutely was, Mike. All
Um,
right. This has
yeah.
been our trip through the Mushroom Kingdom. If you would like to tell us about your journey there and say, no, I did like Seth Rogen's performance as Donkey Kong, well, you certainly can by hitting us up at normies_like_us. Dad, I'm a monkey.
We're gonna hear that in the Ninja Turtles movie. You know it because he's Bebop or
Yeah.
Rocksteady, one of those two. They're gonna do it.
Him
And
and
he
John
said
Cena,
he
yeah.
doesn't change his voices. So literally he's going to be like, I'm Bebop.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then John
Thanks for the
Cena will be
pizza.
Rocksteady. Be great.
yeah.
That's
But
great, guys.
Looking forward to it.
where I guess this is my final before I say our names. Where this was just kind of what I expected and nothing more. Like Sonic movie kind of surprised me with how much more it became. You know, like it
Yeah.
exceeded my expectations. Where this just merely met them and didn't feel special.
I know we keep
Exactly.
these evergreen. They're in theaters at the same time. Do not see this movie. See Dungeons and Dragons.
Go
This
to
is
see
my
that.
Yeah,
last
Dungeons and
plea
Dragons
to
is
you.
better.
It's
And
a better
knowing that it's
family
going to
movie,
be
too.
that Mario's going to outsell it by like several hundred million, probably.
Oh.
It makes me very
Um,
sad because man,
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons is so underrated.
I hope that it does do well enough to get a sequel.
Do you think it will be up for Best Animated Movie?
Mario.
Mario,
No,
maybe.
it doesn't pull.
There's
going to
be a lot of
I mean, I'm sure Elemental will be.
There's going to
Or
be a lot of
Elements.
interestingly animated films released this year between
Yeah, and Across
Turtles
the
and
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man and Elements.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
that
going to
there.
be
I
in
don't
trouble
think
with
so.
those two.
Right.
And last year had Puss in Boots was last year, right?
Yes. Has a
That was a-
Despicable Me film ever been nominated for an Academy Award for animated film?
I don't know,
I don't think so.
but
I bet the Grinch was.
Maybe Despicable Me 1.
I should watch Puss in Boots. I've heard
Puss in
that's
Boots, I
so
think
good.
that's a perfect
really
example
good.
of how you can make a
Maybe I should
kids
just watch that
movie,
instead.
a movie that's like marketed towards kids and families that can still be appreciated as a movie by adults and older people in a way that the Mario movie is very shallow, like and surface level. Like Puss in Boots had a lot going on, so
And
they can't all
stunt
be that way.
casting celebrity voices in a very smart way.
Yeah, but they can't all be that good, right? So,
No.
Good job, Mario. You tried. You did your best.
Wow.
Participation trophy.
I think we're
Here you
being
go.
too easy on Mario. But okay, we've been your hosts. This is the Super Princess Colin.
Maluigi.
And this is Jacobio. Let's
Hey.
go.
Goodbye.
Wahoo!